So welcome to the 5th annual alumni panel. This is an opportunity for you current Lake Forest High School students to hear some perspectives to be shared with you from some former students, alums, going as far back as 2012 and as recently as last year. Our moderator today is our senior, Tanishta Chandra. She'll be asking a variety of questions of each of the individuals. There will be time at the end if you want to ask a question. But the purpose of today is really to give you the opportunity to hear some perspectives on students who just recently transitioned out of the high school into a bigger environment, as well as some graduates who are in the working world, in the professional world, and what a day in the life is like for them, as well as any recommendations they have for you for the time you still have remaining here at Lake Forest High School. So I know you'll give them the respect they are due. Let's start by giving a round of applause for our alumni panel. Thank you again. I give you permission, John.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sassans. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Tanishta Chandra, and I will be the host this afternoon. Please welcome our wonderful alumni panel. This panel is comprised of LFHS graduates who graduated between the years of 2012 and 2025. They've all had such a diverse set of experiences, and we're so lucky to have them here today to share these experiences with you. So we're going to start off by asking some questions, and then towards the end, I'll hand it over to you guys, the audience, to see if you guys have any questions to ask then. But to start off, we first ask that you please introduce yourself, say the year you graduated, and then what you are currently doing today.
My name's Tommy Glyman. I graduated in 2019, and right now I'm a wealth management associate at a financial planning firm called Compass Financial Partners.
I'm Thomas. Test. I'm Thomas Jacob. You may know me as Mr. Thomas. I am a special education teaching assistant here at Lake Forest High School, and I graduated from here in 2021.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda McMahon. I graduated from the high school in 2013, and I'm an account executive at the Walt Disney Company.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel Montaigne. I also graduated in 2013, and I currently work in commercial real estate helping companies find office space.
Hi everyone, I'm Will Oakley. I graduated from here in 2012. It's not apparent, I'm an Army officer, an Intel officer specifically, and right now I teach at West Point.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Van Antwerp. I graduated in 2019, and I'm currently an ICU nurse at Northwestern in Chicago.
Hi everyone, I'm Kat Yanks. I'm currently a freshman at Ole Miss, and I graduated in 2025.
Hi, I'm Haley Rios. I am a freshman at Eastern Illinois, and I graduated in 2025.
Yeah, Haley!
Perfect. So our first set of questions are going to focus on the alumni who are currently in the work world. So Eleanor, you mentioned that you are a nurse, and you're a nurse at the cardiothoracic unit. When did you realize that you wanted to pursue a medical profession? And if you could tell us a little bit more about your experiences in the unit, that would be great.
So I always knew that I wanted to work with people, and I could not possibly have a desk job, and I needed to be up and moving all day. So I knew I wanted to do something with healthcare and working with people. I started college as a public health major and then pivoted into nursing. Since being in nursing, it's been amazing getting to work with people. I learn something new every day, and it's been good.
Awesome. And Isabel, you work in commercial real estate, but what experiences, including playing lacrosse in college, led you to end up where you are right now?
Yeah, so when I was a little bit older than you guys, but maybe in the college position for those two down there, I was studying public policy. So I thought I was going to go to Washington, save the world. Somehow I ended up in real estate, but it really started from a conversation when I was home on Thanksgiving break, actually sitting at one of my family friends' dinner tables, just telling her parents, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I kind of like this, I kind of like that, but I think ultimately the void that I was going to miss the most in college was kind of competing for something, being on a team, all those, bonuses that I got out of my lacrosse experience and playing collegiately at that level. And so it was funny, my friend's dad looked across the table, he's like, you need to learn about real estate. I'll connect you with a bunch of people that I know and just talk to them about what they do, what they like about their job, what they don't like about their job, and kind of see if this is an industry for you and worth pursuing. So kind of went through that exercise. My junior year of college, met with a lot of people and asked a lot of questions, but ultimately kind of fell in love with the idea of real estate. And so just kind of high level, what we do is, where we compete and have that team-based environment. We work on a team to go pursue new clients, which is very competitive in the city of Chicago, and we do national work as well. So I really got to fill that void that I was missing in that way. But then kind of on a day-to-day basis, similar to Eleanor, I knew I wanted to work with people. So we work with all different companies to find what they need in the world of real estate, similar to maybe your parents when they go look for a house, they give a list of criteria of where they want to be and how many rooms and the look and feel. We just help companies do that. So whether it be, some of you may know Grubhub or Walgreens, those are just a few that we work with every day. So I think that kind of marrying both the people element and then the competitive and team-based industry, real estate really was the perfect fit for me.
Thank you. And Will, you decided to attend West Point after graduating Lake Forest High School. So what factors influenced your decision to pursue a career in the military?
Thanks for the question. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to be when I grew up, when I was 17 or 18 years old, but I knew the things that were important to me, and I knew the types of things I wanted to continue doing in college and afterwards. So, in terms of values, right, patriotism was really important to me, public service was important to me. I was a Boy Scout and Eagle Scout for a long time, and that sort of, idea of continuing public service into adulthood mattered a lot. I really liked history. I found out that I liked public policy and political science thanks to Mr. Steve Dunn and his AP Poli Sci class here at Lake Forest High School. I knew that I liked doing physically hard things, whether that was canoe trips in Canada or the cross-country team here at the high school. And so as it came time to make a decision about college, I applied to several liberal arts schools, Big Ten or private schools out east. And then I applied to West Point, and I sort of was weighing my decisions, and I realized that I would always wonder what could have happened if I didn't pick West Point, and so I chose West Point and never really looked back. Since then, the military has lived up to all my aspirations and expectations, and even more so. So thanks for the question.
For sure. Our next question is for Tommy. So you're currently working at an investment firm, but could you talk a little bit more about the path you took to kind of get there?
Yeah, so I first learned about investing actually here in my economics class, and I was basically just curious about what to do with any extra money that you have and how to put it to work. So when I first started learning more about it in college, I guess what I benefited most from was first just joining clubs on campus, finding other people who had a shared interest, and then from there figuring out what other opportunities were available. So in the finance industry, a lot of the companies will come to your college, and you can go meet them and network and see what they're all about. And from there, it's really just networking in the beginning, just learning everything you can. And then when you find something you're interested in, you can really just go to their website and they post job opportunities, and then you can apply and use the people you know, and go from there, I guess. And that's probably the best route.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Okay, and our next question is for Thomas. So you graduated from Lake Forest High School, and now you're currently working at Lake Forest High School. So can you talk a little bit more about the factors that influenced your decision to kind of pursue a career in education?
Yeah, so I first started thinking about becoming a teacher when I was a student here, when I was a junior. Actually, when I was a sophomore, I started thinking about it because I really liked social studies. So I thought, is there a career I can do in social studies? When I was a junior, I was a teaching assistant, a student teaching assistant for one of the teachers here, Miss McKee, who has since retired. I loved it. I was an assistant in a class that I had taken, so I was familiar with it. I felt really great about being able to help the students with that. I continued when I was a senior, but something funny happened when I was a junior. It was called coronavirus. So junior year got cut short for me, and then senior year I was all online the whole year. So as for like coming back to Lake Forest High School, I guess I kind of felt like I had unfinished business. But I mean, other than that, I wanted to give back. It was something I thought about, like, wow, it would be so cool if I could be a teacher at Lake Forest High School because I was here as a student. Yeah, so I went on to St. Olaf College in Minnesota, and I majored in social studies education and French. And that was my goal, and I stuck to it. And here I am.
Awesome. And our next question is for Amanda. So you currently work at Disney, but can you explain some of the factors that that influence where you're working now?
Yes. So around your guys' age, I had this pipeline dream of wanting to be the next Erin Andrews on College Game Day. She no longer is an announcer on College Game Day, but the vibe of waking up every Saturday morning, being at a new college campus, and just being very involved in the game that was happening, it really excited me. And it's a really big full moment circle for me right now because the high school had this awesome program where Will, Isabel, and I were juniors and seniors, where it was called like Open Doors. I think that was the name of the program, but I was like, wow, go me, okay. But parents in the community could volunteer themselves to allow students to job shadow them. So a gentleman by the name of Bill Bond, he had signed himself up to allow students to come job shadow him, and he worked at ABC down in downtown Chicago, and I immediately signed up because ESPN, ABC, they were all owned by Disney. And the moment I walked into those doors at ABC, I just was like completely blown away, but didn't really know that there was a business side of advertising. And Mr. Bunn really opened up my eyes to like this whole new world. But I still had this pipeline dream of being the next Erin Andrews. So when I went to Elon, he really encouraged me to take a class that would read behind a teleprompter. And right there and then I knew my time of being a sportscaster was not going to happen. But what was great is that Elon had a curriculum that showcased what the business world looked like within advertising. And every time I came home for summer, Thanksgiving, Christmas break, I always met with Bill. He networked with, he gave me the contacts of people he worked with in the past, whether it was at Disney, NBC, CBS, all the big publishing companies. And I got really great advice from a woman who worked at ABC, and she said, go get experience outside of Disney, because the moment you come here, you're kind of stuck here. And so I did that, and I worked at a few different ad agencies, and at the end of the day, I always knew I wanted to go back to, or really end my career at Disney. So years and years later, here I am, and I'm really proud of the full circle moment. So that was my adventure of how I got to Disney.
So our next questions are for all the panelists currently in the work world. But what does your typical day at work look like? And was it any different from what you expected going in?
Well, I feel like my day may be different than the normal 9 to 5. I start my day at 7. We get report on who we're going to take our patient for the day, and every day is very different. Even if you have the same patient for 3 days in a row, it's a very different day, which is very exciting. It always keeps you on your toes, keeps you moving. Each patient is followed by a different team, or there'll be many teams consulting on the patient. So we get to learn a lot about different body systems. And then we just go throughout the day. So then we end our day at 7:30, give report to the next nurse, and then I'm back at it again the next day at 7. So it's very busy, but it's very exciting getting to work with lots of different teams, kind of being the liaison between your patient, the patient's family, and then all the different doctors that are coming in and out of the room. I work in a surgical ICU, so all my patients have either had an open heart transplant, lung transplant, or open heart surgery. So it's a very stressful environment, and kind of getting to be the face in between the different teams is very exciting for me. And I love getting to work with, like I said earlier, lots of different people and getting to know different people, and then combining science and I guess like interpersonal skills is really beneficial and rewarding for me personally.
So I just for a little bit of background about what the Army is, what the Army does, before I get into what an average day looks like. Obviously, the Army is the branch of the armed forces that's responsible for ground combat. We're not necessarily doing that all the time, or even most of the time. There are bases all over the country, places that have names that start with Fort that you might have heard of, like Fort Bragg, Fort Lewis, Fort Carson, different installations across the country. And if you're in the Army, you can expect to be stationed at one of these bases, and you're usually doing some sort of training or going to work in anything that can look like roughly a 9-to-5 job, or you might get deployed for months at a time. And the spectrum of your time commitment during the day varies wildly based off of the mission and what the requirements of that mission are. So with that said, a typical day, as I have experienced it in the Army, I'm not trying to one-up Eleanor or anything, but we usually, get up at 5:30 or so, and then, work out from around 6:30 to 8, and then depending on what needs to happen, there's, any kind of, everything from planning sessions to meetings to going out and fueling up some trucks and driving out into the field and shooting guns. It can be a wide variety of different experiences, but the common things that I find myself, have found myself doing, there's a lot of rapid, get new information, have to parse that information, and build a plan for it for your team on the basis of that information. There's a lot of rapid responses to changing circumstances, keeping a cool head under pressure, staying calm, being able to motivate people, even if there's some uncertainty or feelings of fear or change that might be happening, and the ability to laugh and just basically make the best of any kind of circumstance. You get really good at taking naps in uncomfortable places or in the backs of trucks or on planes or things like that. But my job right now, I'm really lucky. I get to teach cadets. So I live in Manhattan, and I drive up to West Point and teach for a full day of work, and then go back down to do that. So. That's a day in the life, or what a day in the life might look like if you choose the Army.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we're going to move on to our next set of questions that focus on our panelists who are currently in college. Our first question is for Haley. So how has it been balancing your commitment with soccer and being a freshman in college?
I would say it was definitely really hard at the beginning. I went to school like a month earlier than everyone, so I kind of had like the month to kind of prepare myself mentally to actually start taking classes. But I would say the biggest thing for me was just like finding the balance to find time to like take care of myself, because I was always go with soccer and then bringing in school in August. So I think it was just really busy.
Awesome. And Kat, what advice would you give to seniors as they're making post-high school plans?
I would definitely say take it all in. I know it's a big transition off of that moving from high school to college, but that summer before school, as Haley said, a lot of people are leaving and getting ready, so just really take it all in with your friends. And when you first move to school, just get to know the people on your floor, get to know everyone in clubs or in classes and everything, because it's a really new experience, and getting to make a new community for yourself is really important too. You're going to be away from your family and you're going to be just really trying to get to know this new environment. So having people there for you in your corner is really important.
For sure. And then this next question is for both of you, actually. What advice would you give to seniors to help them acclimate to their new surroundings in next year as a freshman? And then also, how did you spend your summer before going off to college? I know you touched on this a little bit, but and also what helped you prepare for your new environment as a freshman?
I think kind of as I just said, like really making your own like environment socially when you first get to school, I found was the best, most helpful thing for myself. Like I met so many new friends from all over the country. I had friends from Texas. I had friends from, different countries across the world, and that just really helped me acclimate myself. Trying to just be so far, being in Mississippi is so far from home, but it really helped me get that homesick.
I would say mine's similar to her. Definitely find your group of friends, but then also for like being seniors in high school, kind of just soak it all in and take your time, I guess, with finding people. And it's going to be hard right at the beginning because there's so many new things that you're going to be introduced to. But once you like find a solid group of friends and solid like people that like really fill your cup, you'll be fine.
Yes, and so again, next question's for both of you. But what did you guys find yourselves prioritizing your first few weeks as a freshman? Like, was it your mental health, socializing? What was like your biggest priority going in?
For me, I would say definitely my mental health because playing soccer, doing 20-hour weeks every day was not something that I was used to. And I think it really did take a toll on me because of how go I was, and I didn't really have time to take a break. So finding that time to actually just like really like reset myself and like so I could be the best person I can be on and off the field was definitely key for me.
I think for me, just getting to know college classes are way different than high school classes. So just taking that first step into not necessarily getting to know your teacher if it's like a lecture style class, but just knowing the syllabus and what you're expected to do for the rest of the semester, because that's something that's really like in high school, you kind of not get your hand held, but it's very much explained to you in a proper way. But in college, you're kind of expected to know it yourself. So just really academically making sure you're focused on doing that. And then again, just socially trying my best to make new friends and then getting out of my dorm as much as possible.
And then, what do you think Lake Forest High School could have done better to prepare you for your post-high school career?
I think Lake Forest High School did a really good job preparing me for school. I think academically, some of my classes that I took in high school were very similar to what I'm taking now, if not almost the same. So academically, I was very much prepared for college. I think socially, we're coming from a really small community. So we're going to school now I'm at Ole Miss right now. So that transition from a small community to a big community was more difficult for me because I was so used to seeing the same people every day, seeing the same faces. And then now walking to class, it's hard for me to see like one or two friends even walking to class. So I think maybe just venturing out of the small community every once in a while is something that I wish I would have done more, and just understanding how to do first.
Cover them all. Except actually, no, I'll say for me it was like hers was different because she wasn't in a small community, and I would say going to Eastern was relatively similar to this, so I was seeing the same people and the same faces every day of the week. So that kind of was kind of the same vibe as Lake Forest High School, but I feel like academically, like I did not have a hard time transitioning at all. With like the level and like the high standard that that they have here, kind of just helped me prepare for it.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely do have a very high standard here. I can definitely attest to that. But our next question is actually open to any of the panelists if you would like to answer. But if you were on a different pathway than what you anticipated when you graduated from LFHS, would you mind sharing that pathway and what kind of specifically made you change your minds?
Yeah, so I pretty much knew I was going into the finance industry, but when I graduated college, I started at Merrill Lynch, and I was fortunate enough to get like my investment licenses there, which was great, and I thought I was going to work there my entire life. But I only lasted like 8 months there. and that's not to say it's not their fault at all, but for the role, I was more so expected to be advising right out of the gate, and I felt like more was being expected of me. But I wanted to have more experience before I did that, so I left Merrill and moved back here. I was in Florida with Merrill, and the role I'm in now, I'm able to work for an advisor. I'm still doing a lot of things directly with clients, but yeah, I mean, it was just something that kind of hit me when I really couldn't prepare for it until I knew that it kind of had to happen this way. But yeah, getting the experience has been helpful to me, just because, I don't know, you can just be more confident, I guess, when you know what you're doing, rather than getting thrown out there. So sometimes you're going to get knocked down, I guess.
So I actually work on a team of a couple people, and I think, you know, as I mentioned in my little intro, I didn't know much about real estate and kind of learned and fell into the industry. But I think something that's cool, and you know, to Tommy's point, and something I learned now being in the working world for almost 10 years, is that it's never too late to make a change. And my team is accountant turned real estate advisor, an architect turned real estate advisor. I work with an attorney turned advisor. I call myself the all-star intern that never left. But like, there's different backgrounds, whether it be at different companies or different industries entirely, or even backgrounds in school, what you're studying. Just because you're studying some particular thing, whether it be public policy or finance or history, you're really able to just, as long as you go through college or high school with the mindset of like, I'm learning to learn, I'm learning to stay interested, I'm learning to try something new, fail, get back up, have that mentality. I think that really any industry that you go in, or even in Amanda's case where she's like, I knew I wanted to be at Disney, but I needed to go get experience at other firms. Like, don't have your maybe mindset on, I need to get this job when I graduate, or I need to go to this school or do this class when I leave here. I think if you kind of go at it with like, all right, I know what I would want to do at the end of the day, but what are other experiences or things I can kind of learn and take from different points of my career, life, school experience, that could kind of ultimately help me get there. I think that that's something that I always pitch as a great positive of our team is, you know, at JLL, the company I work for, we have a vast and diverse background of experiences. So really we can deliver for clients because we all have an expertise that's unique. So kind of go through life and figure out what that expertise is in your mind, because it really is valuable in any job, any profession, or any industry.
And just to add, and I'm sure you're probably wanting to move to the next question, but to go off what Isabel said, and I think the best piece of advice that I got, and I know you guys are a little bit younger, but take the risk when you guys are younger, because it's easier to take the risks now than you're 30, and or if you're married or have kids, and I know that is far off from where you guys are right now, but I'm saying take the risk now because it's easier to do that, and it's okay to take those risks. And especially for those of you who are applying to college, challenge yourself. Get, you know, as you know, Catherine said, like, get outside this community, like really meet new people, challenge yourself to join organizations that you might not have joined here at the high school. Like, challenge yourself, and it's okay to feel uncomfortable because that's where you grow the most.
I think putting this in perspective for the college lifestyle, I'm actually transferring come second semester, but that's something that's really outside of the comfort zone of like, I thought it was super weird to transfer coming out of the high school. I thought everyone stayed at the same school for the next 4 years, and I thought it was something that I needed to keep really private. But when I realized that a bunch of my friends are doing it, I had a bunch of friends who were upperclassmen when I was in high school who actually have transferred, that it's okay not to be, when you get to this place that you are, when you first get to college, it's okay not to think that, like, you can realize that this isn't where you're meant to be for the next 4 years. I quickly realized that when I got to Ole Miss, I'm having the best time, and I realized, like, it's going to be hard to leave all my friends that I've met now, but
I think that it just once I'm here, like for 3 more years, I don't know if I could do that there. So when you get to school, it's okay to realize that you don't have to stay there, and that's an expectation that I really thought coming out of high school, like that I was going to have to stay for the next 4 years. So going into college, I was really nervous that what if I don't like it? What if I don't make the right friends? If I get in the right group or my major, all of that stuff. I was super nervous with it, but realizing that I personally just need a smaller community from a big SEC school is something that was an expectation that I didn't think I was going to have to deal with, but I did. And just knowing that's totally normal, and to take that risk, to know that it's okay to take that risk, that maybe not everything's always set in stone for you.
Awesome, thank you so much. And then this again open to all the panelists, but was there anything that ever happened to you after you graduated high school that you kind of felt was like going to be the end of the world, and then that ended up really being like a blessing in disguise, or taught you like a really great lesson?
High school was forever ago. No, I'm kidding. I think the biggest thing for me, I always found myself living in Chicago. My family's here, my brother is here, my friends are here, my community's here. And during COVID, I came to realize that, Chicago was a place I needed to leave to grow. And I think that, I know that's way past high school, but it was sad because I do love it here. And the community that we have here is very special. And I know being in high school, sometimes we forget about that. But just know you guys are in a really great place, and people here are incredible and don't take it for granted. So I went a little long-winded there, but just wanted that.
All right, well, that would be it for our session today. Why don't we give our panel a round of applause? And thank you so much for attending, and have a great Thanksgiving break, everyone.
I think